It's time for another segment of Mr. and Mrs. Medicare, saving seniors from a high cost of healthcare, debunking Medicare, making Medicare easy to understand for all seniors. All guests of any of the Medicare segments receive the free ebook written by your MedicareLady.com. Here are your hosts, Paul and Sarah Finkelstein.
And by the way, to get that free ebook, just put in an email at wow@omgtalk.com. That's the email, wow@omgtalk.com. Put in the subject line, free Medicare book. It's all for you for free.
You have been listening to the OMG podcast with Paul Finkelstein. We can help you build wealth without hogging your time. Schedule a one-on-one with us. Thanks for listening. Join us again for another OMG podcast segment.
Thank you so much, Tony. If you are looking for a voiceover, not AI, a real person, Tony does a great job. You can find him at trcvoiceovers.com. But Paul Finkelstein is a very popular name. There are over 50 Paul Finkelsteins on LinkedIn with the same exact first and last name. This Paul Finkelstein doesn't like to stay in the lines because he thinks bigger than that. How about yourself? Unless you're okay with the status quo, mediocrity, never getting a raise from your job or your business, your revenue is just fine, you're making good money, then you don't need this. You definitely would not be interested in this particular 7 minute to 25-minute talk, where you could check out the first 7 minutes and then you could save the rest of the next 25 minutes for later. But you might not be interested in entrepreneurship. So I invite you to have a big open mind in some new concepts for a short 5 minutes and then maybe 25 minutes after that. Paul Finkelstein, dream big, Paul Finkelstein. And there I am in that little tiny box over there at the bottom of your screen. If you're listening to this on my Facebook profile, my Facebook page, or my YouTube. Maybe I'll give it a benefit of the doubt. I'll make myself just a little bit bigger because, this is small and this maybe is more normal. So thank you for being here as well. You could have been somewhere else, but there's other ways to meet people than just going off into town. We could connect through my Facebook profile, my Facebook page, or YouTube. And so if you resonate with anything I talk about over the next 5 to 20 minutes, feel free to drop a comment in the chat. Maybe say, hey, thumbs up or something. Type out thumbs up if you can't find the emoticon as well. But let's see if we're more alike than we are different. Anybody here actually mow their lawn for their parents or when they grew up? They actually took that dust off the lawnmower and they helped out every week and bagged the lawn. In the Northeast, that's what I did where I grew up as well. I saw dust on that, and I saw a need for me to make some extra money even back then. And I did enjoy mowing the lawn, and people saw that I bagged it well, that the neighbors said, why don't you do my lawn? I said, okay, sure. How much would you charge? And, then we got through it. Maybe like $40 back then was not too bad cash. So did you mow the lawn? Put something in the comments where you're listening to this as well. Thanks so much for listening as well. Are you the kind of person in the Northeast, though, that uses a snow blower? You didn't want that thing getting dust on it as well. And it was pretty handy because I can make the same bucks I did when I did the whole lawn just for driveways. So it did take a little bit of time, but it was certainly faster than using a shovel. I did give up my shovels, though, way back when, several decades since I moved here to the Southeast. But that being said, it was interesting doing the snowball. But anybody here by a show of hands? Let's see if we're more alike than we are different. By a show of hands, did you work in a kitchen as one of your early jobs? That could be anything. Maybe you were assisting the cook, or maybe you did work the dishwasher. Maybe you prepped some food. Maybe you folded some napkins. If you did any of those things, maybe we are more alike than we are different. But did you know that millions of people want their own business but never take the plunge? They just don't know what to do. And of course, you don't know what you don't know, right? That was one of my mom's favorite sayings. But why dream big? Before I even get to that, when I was 13 years old, I just want to put this picture at the bottom of the screen so you could see it. I'm just clicking enter so that maybe this picture shows up. That picture right there that says 365 speeches, 365 days. It's a picture of me when I was 13. My mom threw me a birthday party, had a DJ there. in the dance floor, and on the left side of the dance floor were some kids. And the DJ said, Red Rover, send Johnny over. And all the kids ran from the left side of the dance floor to the right side of the dance floor. And I landed right on my mom's lap, just as you see over there. And I'm going to bring up this story again because there's an interesting cash flow quadrant book called by Robert Kiyosaki. And I want to relate that game, G-A-M-E, game. It's a game, and maybe life is a game too, because life's short as well. But let's talk about the curse words that amateur entrepreneurs seem to get stuck on in beginning a business, or maybe they're seasoned players and they still use these curse words, these amateur entrepreneurs, not your curse word that you're actually thinking about. Thanks so much for commenting, by the way, Ketz. The first word is mediocrity. Mediocrity might sound like a curse word to a seasoned professional entrepreneur, but an amateur entrepreneur, they're stuck on mediocrity because they don't want to get out of their comfort zone. They like things the way they are, but are they really happy with their current income circle? We'll talk about the income circle as well. Then the second curse word of the 6 curse words that amateur entrepreneurs, in my opinion, say: tired. I'm just too tired. I don't feel like making telephone calls. I'm just too tired. I don't feel like marketing my business. I'm just too tired. I don't want to make that extra call. So tired might be an amateur entrepreneur curse word. Then there's the word comfortable, is another amateur entrepreneur curse word as well. And then there's procrastination. I'll give it a sound effect, which is this is the sound of yawn, a big yawn. Procrastination. I don't feel like doing it today. I don't feel like doing it tomorrow. I don't feel like doing it next month or next year. And if you keep procrastinating it, your whole life is going to be gone just like that. And there's 2 other curse words that amateur entrepreneurs seem to get stuck on, and that is work. It's spelled the same way as some other curse words. 4-letter word, work. And then a little longer than 4 letters is effort, which is kind of the same thing as work. But why dream big? Perhaps maybe your dream is to go where the sun spends the winters on the beaches of the world. So here's a picture of a beach. And maybe your dream is to do some more traveling. Have you been thinking about going to Athens, Greece lately? Or maybe like my wife and I pictured there in 1999, went to Athens, Greece for our honeymoon. And that was an amazing adventure, to say the least. But how many, by a show of hands, say my job is sexy? You ever catch yourself looking in the mirror and you say, my job is so sexy? Said nobody with a job. I guess it could happen. There are those rare circumstances. I love my job. I like my job. I love my boss. I like having a boss. I mean, I know your boss is right next to you, so you got to watch what you're saying, especially if you're listening to this at work. But I don't need or want a big raise at my job or my business. I don't need more revenue. I make good money. And what exactly is that? How much is good money? I kind of struggle whenever somebody tells me they make good money, because I know the statistics that 95% of 100 people in your phone are dead, disabled, or broke by the time they get to 65. You ever heard that one? So again, why dream big? And some of those answers, they different things for everybody, but I like to hold this one up. That if you like to go where the sun spends the winters on the beaches of the world, that is a great and amazing dream. There are different kinds of textures of sand all over the world. There's a place called Half Moon Cay in the Bahamas. I think it's called San. I can't remember the name of the island in the Bahamas, but it was like white powder. It was just great touch on your. I love to run on the sand barefoot without shoes on. Hopefully there's not too many shells that can cut me up. But that being said, I mean, it's just beautiful to walk on the beaches of the world. So 4% are financially okay, and 1% is rich. I mean, rich is like $10 million or more. You're, no matter what dumb financial decisions you make, if you got $10 million and you don't make a big $10 million mistake, you're going to have, some backup, right? But why? What is the definition of success? I was reading one day in a book, and I just really honed in on this one particular definition of success. If you've seen my earlier videos, here it is again, and that is: success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream come true. Success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream come true. Success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream come true. This is not a broken record. I just want to be able to say it so I hear it for myself. And if you'd like to hear it for yourself again and again and again, it's great. But success is different through the eyes of a 20-year-old, the eyes of a 30-year-old, the eyes of a 40-year-old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old, 70-year-old, 80-year-old, 90-year-old, 100-year-old. I could go higher because I think that everybody at every age should have a dream. But now is the point where I ask you to actually take a piece of paper and a pen and draw a circle on it. And if on that circle, inside that circle, draw a dollar sign, an S with 2 lines through it, the dollar sign, the almighty dollar sign. And that circle is the maximum amount of money you're going to make for the rest of your life. How do you feel about that? No raise, no increase in revenue. That's your income circle. You got to live with it. Tough doogies. Now let's see if you could take a circle and put a circle around that circle. Kind of looks like this bottom circle. And that circle, when you draw it around your income circle, is your dream circle. And not many people get around to getting to their dream circle. That would become that procrastination word, one of those 6 amateur curse words that we were talking about for entrepreneurs. If you don't get around to it, well, maybe you do get around to it. So take a piece of paper and write the word TUIT. That's TUIT. Write that down on a piece of paper. T for Tom, U for umbrella, I for igloo, T for Tom. That's to it. Now, put a circle around that word to it. There, now you got it. Now you have a round to it, and now you can get to your dream circle. But have you ever heard of Robert Kiyosaki and his book called The Cash Flow Quadrant? Because we're going to tie in that game I mentioned earlier when I was 13 years old in that picture down below over here, or maybe it's over here. If I'm mirroring my screen, I'm pointing probably in the wrong place. But in the book Cash Flow Quadrant, on the left side of the quadrants, there is an employee and self-employed on the top and bottom of the left side. Then there's the business owner and investor on the right side. Now, if there's 2 of the quadrants that you'd prefer, an employee, self-employed, business owner with a system, or an investor, maybe which of those 2 quadrants would you prefer? Humor me and put something in the chat, which of those you'd prefer. But I relate this to the game that I played when I was 13 years old, like I'm pictured there with the blonde hair. That was me. And the DJ said back then, Red Rover, send Johnny over. And I think of Johnny as the amateur entrepreneur going from employee to self-employed, and Red Rover, send Johnny over. And Johnny runs over from the employee and self-employed side over to the business owner investor side. Now, they're not going to do it unless they have sick preceding tired for that game there. So Johnny is sick and tired of being an employee. They're going to go over to the business owner investor side. Or Johnny is sick and tired of being self-employed, and they're going to go over to the business owner or investor side. So if that's you, we're more alike than we are different as well. We didn't just mow the lawn together or use a snowblower or work in a kitchen in our early days in high school. So why dream big? Again, we'll put this on the screen for those people that just are coming out here. If you want to spend your winters where the sun spends the winters on the beaches of the world and do some traveling, I could put my picture up like I did earlier of Athens, Greece, where my wife and I had visited that many decades ago. But we're always setting all kinds of mini goals and dreams for us to shoot for, so it keeps our days, well, not boring. So who helps an old lady cross the road? And who am I calling an old lady? It's just a nice gesture, right? You see an old lady cross the road, you want to help them if you're a good person, right? And I'm assuming we're all good people until you're not. So a nice person would help an old lady cross the road, a mentor, a coach, a gentleman, a mensch, a distinguished Toastmaster, a kind person. We'll talk about Toastmasters later if you guys want me to later. Who helps an employee or self-employed person cross the road and wake up as a business owner or an investor? Well, when Johnny is sick and tired of being an employee or self-employed person, they want to come on over to the investor or the business owner side, then they will cross the road. But who will help them? Who will let them know that? A coach, a mentor, a kind person, an entrepreneur, a business owner who was once an employee. So Similarly to the people that help old ladies, well, those kind of people might also help employees or self-employed people wake up, especially if you hear that they're sick and tired of being an employee or a self-employed person. Why does it feel so good to help somebody? If you're into volunteerism, or perhaps maybe you've heard the expression, why does it feel so good to exercise? Why do things feel so good? Why does it feel good to mentor somebody? Why does it give you satisfaction to do that? If it does give you satisfaction, put a comment down below as well. We'll keep in touch. I'll follow you back on YouTube, or follow you back on Facebook perhaps. Or if you'd like a free Medicare book, you can get one. If you're, approaching 65, you can get a free Medicare book by emailing wow@omgtalk.com. That's wow@omgtalk.com. That's the email address. Put in the subject line, I want a free Medicare book. So who will teach you if I don't? And what will happen if you don't listen? See, why don't people dream big? And I'll tell you the reason why people don't dream big. It's TikTok, it's Netflix binge watching, it's other time zappers. It's 168 hours a week that we all have, and then take away 7 hours a day for sleep. 45 years. Next thing you know, you're older. And how much have you saved up so that you could have a fun number or a fin number type of account? We'll talk about that later. Are you tired yet? So does sick precede tired for you? Sick and tired of a boss, sick and tired of getting a raise, sick and tired of being broke, sick and tired of your income circle falling short of your dream circle. Why don't more people do this? And I'll give you about the 5 or 6 reasons why more people don't dream big. And that's fear, lack of capital, lack of money, lack of knowledge, lack of education, lack of confidence, which Toastmasters could help anybody with the confidence department. But here's a nice acronym for fear. And that's false evidence appearing real. That's false evidence appearing real. You can forget that part, for false evidence appearing real, and turn it into forget everything and run. Here's 4 books I recommend for amateur entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs as well, which is, I always think you should read these books all the time because it gives you a great positive mindset, a business mindset. Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, How to Be Rich by J. Paul Getty, Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. David Schwartz, and Think and Go Rich by Dr. Napoleon Hill. So when you're ready to get your dream circle, you will dream big. If your income circle is falling short of your dream circle and you want more out of life, you'll dream big. Or perhaps maybe you want to improve your health. Maybe you'll dream big as well. Well, I'm Paul Finkelstein. I will now talk about dreaming big. There I am, smaller, and then eventually no longer on the screen, because I do want to share with you some messages from your Medicare lady as well.
It's time for another segment of Mr. and Mrs. Medicare, saving seniors from a high cost of healthcare, debunking Medicare, making Medicare easy to understand for all seniors. All guests of any of the Medicare segments received a free ebook written by your MedicareLady.com. Here are your hosts, Paul and Sarah Finkelstein.
Thanks, Tony, for saying that. He has a great voice for voiceovers as well. If you do want that book, just email us at wow@omgtalk.com and put in the subject line, free Medicare book. And here's a little message from Tony as well about OMG Talk.
You have been listening to the OMG podcast with Paul Finkelstein. We can help you build wealth without hogging your time. Schedule a one-on-one with us. Thanks for listening. Join us again for another OMG podcast segment.
Thanks so much, Tony from TRC Voiceovers. Have a great day and Merry Christmas, everybody.